I don't want to go to bed angry. I want to be able to talk, but she never had that in her because it was never placed in her. It's hard to start a relationship and say, I rather talk. Even if you're angry at me, I'd rather you talk to me and tell me you're pissed off than just say, I don't want to talk to you. Don't look at me. Leave me alone. And it's like, nothing's going to get fixed.
Well, awesome, man. Thank you for jumping on the podcast. And you're all the way in Canada, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Yes. And I looked on your Facebook a little bit, but I saw that you already have a bunch of snow.
We do. Yeah. We've only gotten snow in the past like 3-4 days, actually. So we've had a nice winter.
Yeah, same here. So we really haven't had any snow. We're getting our first storm on Sunday, but I'm in New Hampshire, so we usually get it's usually snowy already. So this is a weird winter.
Yeah. It's been a nice couple of months there. We'll take it.
Awesome, man. Well, let's jump into it and just introduce yourself and let's hear a little bit about your story.
So my name is Jean-François Lagacé. I'm a French IT technician. I've been doing IT for the past 17 years. I've been working for the past 3 years in the school district. I have 3 kids. I have a son that's 6, another one that is 9, and a daughter that is 11.
And your situation is fairly new, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So what? Because it's so new. Like, what made you jump onto like a Facebook group and try to like reach out to other dads out there?
The biggest reason why is I'm going to be honest with you. The last 2.5 years, I've been cut off from friendships and family a lot. So I've had a hard time to reconnect with people, to actually just be able to talk to other people. I've had some issues with opening up when it comes to my struggles and stuff like that. So I just thought that when I saw that post, like single dads and stuff like that, I thought maybe I could talk to people or at least listen to other people's stories so I could feel like I'm not as alone as I thought I was. It's nice to see happy stories too. So it makes me feel like things can go better. Sometimes it takes a long time, but it's a process. So I like to read the good and the bad. Sometimes I feel like reading some stories, like I can see other people's comments and stuff like that when people are having circles, and see that sometimes if I just take the time to get through certain bad patches, good times are going to come. So it makes me feel better that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how are your kids taking it? Because they're at an age where this is tough for them.
It is.
Yeah. When your kids are younger, sometimes they don't really register it as much, and when they're older, they're kind of already out of the house. It's not a big deal. They're at that age where it probably affects them a little bit more.
Yeah. My 6-year-old is taking this more as an adventure because, daddy's going to have a new house and, he's looking forward to doing what he wants with his room. So it's nice for him to grab onto that stuff. And he doesn't necessarily see the struggles and stuff like that, which is nice. But still, I know it's going to affect him later on. So we're trying to be as nice of co-parents as possible. Certainly, in front of the kids, we want to make sure that they feel like mom and dad are still going to be mom and dad. Everything's going to be the same when it comes to loving them and all that stuff. When it comes to my second child, Xavier, he's 9. He's at a stage that he's a lot more vocal and he's a lot more emotional at night. Mostly, when we put him to bed, he'll cry a little bit. He'll talk. He'll say what he feels, which is really, really nice. I don't like seeing him cry and telling me, I miss having family time all together, all 5 of us and stuff like that. It's hard, but I rather he talk than not talk.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, definitely.
That feels good. Just knowing that he wants to talk. So it's just taking the time to actually talk and making sure that when he actually does fall asleep, that he feels like, like things are going to be okay eventually. When it comes to my daughter, she's 11. She's preteen the whole way through. So she's a lot more reserved. She won't talk as much. She will have anger issues once in a while. And I know it has to do with that. But it's been that way for a long, long time because there was so much tension between me and their mom. So I don't necessarily think that her anger when it's really apparent. I know it's about deeper stuff than what's on the surface. So I try to stay calm. Me and her mom try to stay calm and try to talk to her a lot more and just try to make sure that she understands that she can talk to us about anything at all. Like if she needs to say, I'm pissed off, I'm angry, like it's fine. It's valid. You need to talk. You need to get that out. So that's the way that they're, dealing with that. It was a hard conversation when we all sat down at the table and just said, we're not going to be together anymore. We're going to try to make stuff work as smoothly as possible. But it's all nice and perfect when it's in theory. But we have a very weird situation right now. So it's not always easy to stay calm and stay focused on just being good parents. Sometimes the emotions come out, and that's a big struggle that we have to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, one good thing is exactly what you said is what happened with my parents. They sat us down and they, when they were getting divorced back when I was a kid, I feel like that's the way to do it because both of you are thinking of your children and not too much like, screw you, I'm out of here, and grab your stuff and you guys move out and then you'll figure it out later.
That's right.
That's a very good way to go about it. To talk to your kids like that.
We could have gone that route. It would have been easy for me to just pick up and say, I can't deal with you right now. I thought about it. I thought maybe, it'll be payback kind of, but it wasn't worth it. I'm not that type of person. So I didn't want to change the way that I was as a person just to vent, just to make her feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to say she's dependent on me, but it's hard. 3 kids. It's hard to deal with day-to-day stuff, getting them ready for school, meals, nothing stops, right? Whether you're having a good day or a bad day, everything's going to keep on going, right? So you have to deal with everything that just like normal. So I didn't want to put the kids through that. It wasn't really about her. It was more about making sure that the kids are okay. And I'm sure she feels the same way. She just wants them to have normal days, which is hard to ask right now, but we're doing what we can on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it could be worse. You guys could not get along at all, and it could be a very, very different situation.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, I mean, obviously there's misunderstandings, and you guys aren't going to agree on everything, but
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, are you guys co-parenting pretty well?
It's been easier for me to accept the situation because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
It didn't surprise certain people in my life that knew what was going on between us. But other people that were on the outside were looking at us like we had no idea what was going on. And it's a weird thing to hear that you've been working on your couple for so long and trying to make everything work. And there's a lot of baggage, from the past few years. And the truth is that me and my ex did not grow up the same way at all. We had way different childhoods, and a lot of stuff that I was seeing at the start of the relationship when we were just starting dating, I thought to myself, well, this is normal because she didn't grow up the same way I did. So we'll modify it together. I'll have to give in a little bit on certain things, and she'll have to give in on certain things. Somebody's mentality, whether it's on my side or her side, it's hard to change sometimes. There's a lot of stuff that I was used to I was seeing through my parents in my childhood, in the way that I grew up. For me, everything was normal a certain way, and she grew up seeing a lot of hard stuff to see when you're young. At a very, very young age, she had to deal with drugs and alcohol, and parents that would separate every few months. For me, that was so foreign, and feeling like I could always go to bed at night and say, I don't want to go to bed angry. I want to be able to talk. But she never had that in her because it was never placed in her. It's hard to start a relationship and say, I rather talk. Even if you're angry at me, I'd rather you talk to me and tell me you're pissed off than just say, I don't want to talk to you. Don't look at me. Leave me alone. And it's like nothing's going to get fixed. So I was
Right. It
never
just
used to
builds
that.
and builds.
That's right.
Yeah.
And small, tiny issues become huge issues because they're not just one anymore. They're 10 stacked up. So I couldn't see that working out. So it's very, very hard to have a couple that one always wants to talk and try to resolve issues, and the other one wants to step over them all the time and just pass through. Because whether it was on her side that it was going to build up or on mine, I knew something was going to blow up eventually. It wasn't going to be good.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the most important things is communication in a relationship. Either side,
Yes.
I think both need to communicate. Did you guys ever like try to do therapy or anything like that, or
after my mistakes? Yes. I'd rather tell you the whole story because I've made mistakes, and I'd rather, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah, definitely.
2.5 years ago, I was unfaithful for about 2.5 months, a little less than 2.5 months. I had started seeing somebody that I had met through competing. I used to bodybuild, and it just started as somebody that I saw at the gym, somebody I had a relationship, like a friendship with. And when you're unhappy at home, you're looking for happiness in any way possible, pretty much, whether it's, the gym, whether it's other partners, whether it's spending money. It's trying to fill up a hole that you're just never going to fill. And the truth is that pretty much on both sides, I was getting shit on after a while. She wasn't happy. My ex was not happy with me being distant, and I was getting more and more distant because I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with the other one. Mm-hmm. And that woman was not satisfied because she was like, I need you to be here when I need you to be here. I want to have a real relationship with you.
And did she know? She obviously knew you were married because she knew who you were. Yeah.
Yeah. She had made the first move, and I was not better. I went along with it. So there's never an excuse. So, to say the reason why all this stuff happened was never about physical stuff. It was never about being with that person. We only had one physical encounter within those 2.5 months. And what I needed was to talk to somebody, to have somebody talk to me like they loved me and they respected me. But after a while, I noticed that a lot of the stuff that I was looking for in somebody, she wasn't giving it to me. She was pretty much trying to manipulate me like I felt I was being manipulated by my ex. So I was going from a bad situation to another bad situation.
Yeah.
So when it came to the point that things were going to blow up, I sat down with my now ex and told her 2.5 years ago, this is what's been going on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I said, I can't deal with somebody that's crazy that's on that side and somebody that's unhappy with me. It's been years. So I said, I'm just going to lay it all out and she'll do whatever she wants. If she wants to keep going, we'll keep on going and we'll do whatever we need to. I'll do whatever I need to do to make things right. It did not go well.
Of course, yeah.
She was very unhappy. She was somebody that was very jealous already and felt unease about herself. She had a lot of complexes and issues with her confidence. So I knew it was going to blow up. I knew it was going to be really, really bad, but I was like, I might as well just bite the bullet right now and just see what happens from then on. So when that all happened, within 24 hours, we sat down and we said, we're going to try again. We're going to see what we can do. to make things work because we had 3 kids. We knew that we had love for each other. Were we in love? She asked me, "Are you still in love?" And I said, "I don't know. To be honest, I'm not sure if I am still in love. I know I love you. I don't want anything bad to happen to you, but I've done something bad. So those words aren't meaningful enough for me to say, I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Well, I've been cheating on you. I've been making you feel like, you're doing something wrong and I was doing something worse." So all that being said, those 2.5 years that we spent trying to fix what we had was very, very bad. Trust issues left and right.
Yeah.
Before that event that I caused, I had seen that she had been texting other guys and stuff like that. And I always told myself, well, look, like it's, she's looking for attention. And she told me, like, I'm looking for attention that you're not giving me. So I was always thinking to myself, I'm doing something wrong. I'm not doing enough. I should be showing her more love and more attention. But when I did that, I never had a sit down conversation with her and her asking me what made you feel like you had to go see somebody else. The truth is there's never any excuse, right? There's never a good excuse. You can't say, well, you were treating me like shit. I can do whatever I want on my side, right? So there was always that feeling that I was just a bad guy and I was always going to be that guy that cheated. So for 2.5 years, I couldn't go out with my friends. I couldn't talk to my brother for close to a year because she was afraid that he would talk badly about her. So
these are the things that you're trying to do to fix
that's right.
the relationship within 2 years. Yeah.
She pretty much sat down with me. She said, "This is what's going to happen or it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So if I need your phone, you give it to me right now. You don't look at your phone before, you just give it to me. I don't care if you have, things for your work after work. You're not going to see your coworkers. It's too much of an issue. If I would go in town, I have to give her, like send her pictures where I was and stuff like that. It was it was very, very harsh. But during those 2.5 years, I had seen that she was, texting with other guys. She was on dating websites. There was always an excuse on her side. She would sit down with me and say, "I regret. I shouldn't have done that." But she still couldn't forgive me for what I did. Mm-hmm. So it was always going to be an issue. Like she would give herself permission to do certain things because she would say, "Well, he did that to me, so I can do pretty much whatever I want. I can feel the need to do that, so I'm going to do it."
Yeah.
So that was really, really harsh. About a year and a half ago, she, after a lot of prying and asking a lot of questions, I had figured out that she was seeing somebody behind my back. And the more I was asking questions, the more the truth was coming out. And I got to a point that I told myself, if I'm going to ask her to forgive me, to move past what we've done in the past, I need to just forgive her. So I sat down with her one morning. I said, "I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be upfront with you. I don't want to hide anything from you ever, but I need you to do the same thing. And I'm going to forgive you right now." And she said the same thing. "I want to forgive you and I want to move forward and we're going to try and just be better people for each other." So I was very, very happy about that. And I just said, "I don't want you to have any contact with that guy again." Of course, I don't want to have an issue of trust. And I need you to promise me that you won't talk to that guy again, because obviously he was trying to move into my family. I was going to lose everything because you felt like you needed that guy in your life. So I don't want you to have that guy in your life anymore, which is, decent. It's not a big thing to ask, right? And about 9-10 weeks ago, we were having a rough patch, and my brother, that is a cop, saw my vehicle, which she was driving. Well, it's her vehicle too. She was parked somewhere in his territory where he patrols. And he sent me a message and said, "Look, just to let you know, I saw your van parked at this address in this city. And do you know anybody that lives there?" I said, "Well, does it look suspect? Like what's going on?" And he said, "Well, just to let you know, like I went there like twice, and the van was there for about 20, 25 minutes. So I said, okay, look, I'll ask her what she did today, because she took a day off, and she told me, I just went to do a few things in town and went to get the kids after work, after school. So she never talked to me about going to that place. So that house. So what I did is, I asked her, I said, what did you do today? Just to know. And she told me, well, I just went this place, and I went to this place, that place. I went to get the kids in the afternoon. And she didn't tell me about that house. So I said, well, why is she leaving that part of the story out? So it looks kind of suspicious.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was actually living with my mom in her apartment, just because I wanted to give her some space, because it was a rough patch. So I told her, I said, I'm going to head back home, and I want to sit down with you and talk. And I could feel that she was getting scared. She knew that something was going to come. A bad story had to come out. So I sat down with her and I said, I need you to tell me what happened today, just because I need to know the full story. And she said, I just did this, and I just did that, and I already told you. I don't know why you're asking me again. I said, well, because I know that you were parked at this address. Who lives there? And she looked down at the floor, and she said, somebody. I said, I know somebody, but who is it? And I'm assuming it's a man. She said, yep, it's a man. I said, okay, you've treated me like I was such a bad person for the past 2.5 years, because I was keeping stuff from you. And you told me that you were a better person than I was, because you would never do anything behind my back. And now I'm finding out this stuff. So it's either you tell me the whole truth, or I'll find out. I work in IT. I'll figure out who this guy is, right? So I was about to leave, and she said, sit down, I'll tell you. And she said, this guy I've been seeing for a few days. I've seen a few days, and nothing really happened. It's just, I just need to go and see him. So I said, okay, a few days. So how did you meet this guy? And she said, well, we started to talk maybe a couple of months ago. I said, well, you just told me you've only been talking to him for about 3 days. So your story's not making any sense already. And she said, well, we were just talking a little bit here and there. And I said, give me his name. And she gave me the name, and she didn't want to give any information at all. When I sat down with her, I told her the whole thing from A to Z, because I knew that she was going to go and knock on doors and call numbers and stuff like that. So I said, I might as well just tell the whole story. But she didn't want to give any information. A couple of days after that, I found out that this guy that she was talking to, that she was seeing behind my back, was the same guy a year and a half earlier. So she had been doing stuff behind my back for a year and a half. So when I approached her with that situation and said, you promised me you weren't going to do anything behind my back anymore. You told me that you weren't going to talk to this guy anymore. Well, the whole story came unraveling. Like everything was bullshit. All the times that she made me feel guilty for what I had done, she was doing stuff behind my back. So it was hard to swallow. It was really, really hard. And the truth is, she's still with him now.
So that's what I was going to say is it was almost subconscious. It was her backup plan.
Yes.
She was kind of building that to be, if it doesn't work out with my husband now, I can, I have a relationship with this guy.
That's right. That's exactly it. And it's obvious. It's very easy to see. I had so much guilt for 2.5 years. I would walk into my workplace, and she works in schools too. So I knew that people knew what happened, and she spent months talking badly about what I did, and whoever wanted to hear, she would talk. So I felt like shit for 2.5 years, and now she didn't even want to admit anything at all. But now I know more. Now I know that, she's been seeing this guy for a year and a half, and she's been, bringing him to the house. My kids have been meeting his kids. They've been like a few days ago, they went on a trip together. And it's very recent. You don't integrate two families together when it's brand new. You don't go on trips when it's brand new. That stuff was lingering for a long time. So, is it hard? Yeah, it's really, really hard to just accept this stuff.
Absolutely.
But it's been so long that it's been shitty, and it's been hard on the both of us. I'm just ready to move on. But the biggest thing I've noticed is that if there's one person between the both of us that is trying to move things forward and trying to be calm and just being able to talk and plan stuff out, it's been me, because I just want to move stuff forward, and I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean, period. I don't want to be stuck on those issues. I don't want to have that part of my life anymore. I just want to move forward. And I even told her, like, I'm forgiving you. I want to move forward, and I don't want to have that in my life as negative. I just want to have positive stuff. And if that means you're happy with that guy and he's a good guy for the kids, I'm fine with that. I'll always be their dad. I know he won't take over.
Yeah. And that's huge, because you guys are only 2.5 months ish from your split.
Yep.
And for her to do that, for her to still be with a man that, you know, from back in the day where she cheated, that's painful for a guy.
It is.
And I would be fucking furious.
But my
So
friends,
for you to be able to do that is very good.
It's just not in me. I hate.
Right.
I've heard so many of your interviews with guys that are just trying to move stuff forward, trying to be as nice as possible because of the kids, and trying to not be assholes to the moms. And the truth is that it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing to do that. It's a good way to approach a situation, because the truth is if that person's, I won't say a mean person, but a person that's very vengeful, nothing will make them feel less in the right than having somebody on the other side being nice, trying to move stuff forward, and just trying to be polite, trying to make sure that the kids don't feel like you're butting heads. Or, like, I still talk to the kids like, your mom's a great mom, you know, like, I always want to make sure that they understand that if they're with dad, they're going to be happy for they're with their mom. They're going to be happy too. And we're going to take care of them. We're always going to have love for them. And the truth is that I'd rather have a good relationship with her, even though I feel like I've given in a lot when it came to feeling guilty and stuff like that. And she has felt zero remorse for that stuff. I'm okay with that. I'd rather just move forward, and I'd rather her be happy. You know what I mean? I don't want to have animosity towards her. I don't want to feel like I have to put up a front like I'm angry all the time, because I'm not. I don't want to be angry. So if there's one thing, yes, it's hard. My friends would see her and him together and talk to me like, I need to talk to you about something. And I've seen them in town and stuff like that.
Right. You're like, I know. I'm
like, I know what's going on. And they're like, how are you not doing something? Like, you must feel like shit. You must feel like you want to do something. I did at the very start, but now I just feel like, what is it worth? If I do something physical, if I would try to avenge my feelings, well, my kids are going to suffer, because I won't be there, because I'm probably going to be in jail. I don't want to do that stuff. I'm so not that type of person. I'd rather just be a good dad and keep doing what I'm doing. And they'll feel like dad never changed. Yeah. Mom might have changes in her life, but they'll feel like it's already settled with dad. It feels like it's from past to present. Everything feels the same when it comes to how dad is talking to us, how he feels, and how he's dealing with everyday stuff. That's the most important part for me.
Yeah. And you did it quicker than most guys, because eventually you're going to have to get to that point where you just have to let it go and raise your kids. And if she's with somebody else, she's with somebody else.
That's right.
A lot of dads in the beginning, I mean, you did it very quickly, which is great. So props to you.
I had 2.5 years of simmering in that stuff too. So that helped in that sense. But after you see an exit, you might want to take it. One of the interviews you did, a guy was saying that, you know, I lived with my ex for a year, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that he was saying that, you know, I still take care of her, of the kids. I cook meals, I do this and I do that. Look, if that's what he needs to do, nobody has anything to say on that. Like, if that's what he needs to do to feel like he can go through his days, and he feels like that's what he needs to do for himself and the kids, that's the tough thing with
the tough thing with that one is he wanted his ex back. I think he still thought there was going to be a shot, and it's tough because he couldn't realize that it probably was never going to happen. That's and she was almost just playing him.
Of course. It's hard when you're in the situation and you still have feelings.
Of course.
When the feelings are cut off, you can sit back and say, you know, what do I need? not only to be happy myself, but to make sure that the kids are happy. Because if dad and mom are happy, that's what's necessary, right? Because if somebody
Yep.
is unhappy, whether it's the kids, the mom, the dad, it's always going to simmer. It's always going to be in that shitty atmosphere, right? So if everybody can be happy, that's the important part.
Yeah. And now do you, obviously you guys haven't had court yet, I'm assuming, because it's so fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys just on like a 50-50, you take them this day, I'll take them this day?
Yeah, we've had issues with that too. We've had, harsh conversations with, oh, I'm going to take that night to go out and you're going to stay with the kids. Well, the truth is that at the start I was like, I don't care, go out every single night. I'll sit with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I love being with the kids and the kids love being with me. And I was never going to say, you're a bad mom doing that stuff. It's fine. You can do whatever you want. And it probably felt good for her to go out and do whatever she needed to do. And it felt good for me to be here with the kids. Now I feel like I want to do stuff with friends. I've had a good 2.5 months finding my friends again and finding my family again and being able to have real relationships with other people and feel like I can talk to people and be open. And it's hard living in that shell. It's very strange because for 2.5 years, I couldn't really talk to anybody about what was going on because I felt like I knew stuff was weird. I shouldn't have to do all the things I'm doing, but I felt like I wanted to because I felt like I want to stay in that relationship. Now I feel like I can be more open and say, look, this happened in the past, that happened in the past. It's not about bashing. It's just about saying the reason why I was like that is because of that stuff. I felt like I had to do that stuff. It feels good now to have true friends and to have people I can talk to about my emotions and stuff like that. And I've found myself, talking to my friends saying, guys, I love you guys. I feel good talking to you guys. And they're the same way. They're like, if you need to talk, just call me anytime. And these are all people with families and jobs and stuff to do. But I felt like I don't have to be scared to talk to somebody. And that really helps me. So I don't feel the guilt that I've felt for so long anymore. That's a big, big weight off my shoulders, because the truth is I'll always feel guilt about what I've done. But I know I'm not that person. I'm not just that person. I've made mistakes, and I know now what I need to do for my mind and my feelings to feel like I'm at a good place in my life.
Yeah. Now I ask everybody this, if you could give some advice to any dads out there, what would it be?
Well, a lot of guys say the same thing. Just make sure that you're thinking about yourself, because you need to be healthy when it comes to your mind, your body. Make sure that your kids are happy too. That's the only thing that you can really do, is make sure that you do whatever you can for those two aspects: your own health, your mental health, and your physical health, and making sure that your kids are okay too. That's all you can do. You can't modify your ex-partner if you were having issues before, separating or divorcing. You can't change that person afterwards. And it's not about that. You shouldn't have to change somebody, but you can work with that person and just try to make sure that everything is going to be good for you and the kids and for your partner. You don't want to make that partner suffer either, because if mom suffers, the kids are going to suffer. So that's what I would say. Just make sure that everybody's feeling as good as possible in the situations you're in, because eventually it becomes the norm. Other people, other partners come into the relationship, and if you already feel like you're a good parent and the kids feel like they have the support that they and the love that they need from their parents, when it comes to those big changes, having somebody else, another partner, come into the relationship, it's going to be a lot easier for them to feel secure and happy, because
it'll be a smoother transition for them,
right.
for sure.
They feel like they're always going to have their parents. They're going to have the love that they need and the attention. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man, for coming on and sharing your story.
My pleasure.
That was really great.
Thanks. I appreciate that.